The year is 1993. A licky boom boom down? And this song is gonna forever be in my brain. We meet the boy and he meets the world. 1993's fashion is, well, it's back in style. An absolute legend drops in the arcade and on home consoles. Jam. But it was an absolutely epic year for movies. So on its 30th anniversary, it's only fitting that we take a look at a restaurant that celebrates movies and what happened to it.
There's absolutely nothing like this on the planet. There's no restaurant or nightclub or museum or anything that combines everything this restaurant does. Great food, the ability to see stars here, and also to see this great Hollywood, all these toys from all the Hollywood films we've seen for so long.
Planet Hollywood is a success really because it's pure escapism. It's eating wonderful food around extraordinary surroundings. It's like being in a museum, but a lighthearted one, and I recommend it for everyone.
Many people out there, it was amazing. I mean, we have done a lot of openings before, and we have seen a lot of people before when we go to the Academy Awards or when we go to movie openings and premieres or Planet Hollywood openings. But this was absolutely amazing. It was much bigger than ever before.
Yeah, everybody needs a drink, I see.
If you're like me, I bet you thought these three iconic actors owned Planet Hollywood. Nope. Planet Hollywood was opened in 1991 in New York City by Robert Earl, a restaurateur known for themed and stylized restaurants. In 1987, he sold off a chain of 70 restaurants to a larger company, and in return received control of Hard Rock International from its founder. Through an aggressive expansion plan of Hard Rock over the next 2 years, he met Brian Kestner, for whom he shared a mutual vision for bringing together various forms of pop culture. When Hard Rock was again sold to another company, Earl and Kestner founded Planet Hollywood. During the initial opening, several famous Hollywood actors were approached with the opportunity to become corporate investors and spokespeople. Some of the first were Bruce Willis, Sylvester Stallone, and Arnold Schwarzenegger. Actors were paid for their appearances. Many celebrities would follow, including Tom and Roseanne Arnold, Whoopi Goldberg, Demi Moore, who was married to Willis at the time, Jean-Claude Van Damme, John Hughes, Cindy Crawford, Melanie Griffith, and the list goes on. By the next year, 3 more locations were opened, including London, Los Angeles, and Chicago. In 1993, locations were opened in Cancun and where I live in Washington, D.C. I remember when the restaurant opened because it was a massive event here in town. There were numerous press junkets and TV interviews. Each opening was a really big deal where they rolled out the actual red carpet. Streets were blocked off. Stars were chauffeured to the carpet where they would stop and mingle with the press like the Academy Awards. They would then enter the restaurant and hold a huge celebratory party. Attendance to these openings were limited. If I remember correctly, the local radio stations would hold contests whereby callers could win like a limited number of tickets. It was all by design, and in the early years it was really successful. Each Planet Hollywood location was heavily themed around movies. Similar to Hard Rock, the music was loud. They would have looping video tracks playing on TVs, featuring all manner of past and current celebrities, movie props in elaborate display cases. In the DC location, the props were from movies that were filmed in Washington, a diverse menu with themed dishes and drinks, and a merch store where you could buy all kinds of branded gear like caps, mugs, and t-shirts. By the mid-90s, Earl was aggressively expanding the Planet Hollywood brand into more cities and diversifying into different ventures like sports, television, and branded hotels. The company was generating an ungodly amount of money, even though it had already gone through 2 bankruptcies. But the company was growing too big, too fast, and was slow to react to market forces. Customers complained about the poor quality of the food, the overpriced merchandise, and there was even a couple of disputes made about the authenticity of the movie props in a few of the locations. By the late 90s, Planet Hollywood was saddled with debt, closing off locations and being barred from the stock exchange for several years while under Chapter 11 bankruptcy. It was revealed in a shareholders report in 1998 that the celebrities were just minority stakeholders. Arnold Schwarzenegger severed ties with the business in 2000. If you made it this far in the video and you're a Planet Hollywood fan, you're probably screaming at me through the screen that they're still in business. There's nothing discontinued about it. And you're right, kinda. As of this video, there are only a handful of locations left, with their Orlando location being the most profitable. There's one in an airport, there are various resort properties, and 1 or 2 in other countries. There's a planned reopening in New York City, but the original star-studded location closed several years ago. I couldn't even tell you when DC closed. With as much fanfare as that original 1993 debut, it went out with a mere whimper. I can't find any information online. It just disappeared. And you want to hear a secret? I never went there. Not once. I tried to, but the line was always wrapped around the block. The restaurant was located in the theater district and was heavily populated with tourists. And if you did go, it's because your out-of-town family dragged you there. None of my friends were hanging out there. It was way too expensive. And the other thing? Good luck seeing a celebrity in one of these restaurants. I'll bet it never happened unless they were getting paid. My nostalgia lies in the moment in time that these restaurants were open and the celebrities that were populating them at that time. So today I want to try and recreate that moment on this channel. Before we get to the food, do you want to see where Planet Hollywood DC used to be? I grabbed some video when I was filming my recent Arlington Road movie location video. There's a brief shot where Jeff Bridges' character in that movie drives by in the final chase scene. And you can see Planet Hollywood in the background. I shared some other memories about Planet Hollywood in that video, so I'll leave a link in the end in case you missed it.
I've only seen one photo on the internet. It's an old postcard photo of its time as Planet Hollywood, and it's roughly from about this angle right here. In the movie, you can clearly see this cutout here, which now says Fogo de Chao, but this was blank during the movie. And all of these awnings were striped. And of course they were striped with that very familiar Planet Hollywood green and red striping. If you slow it down enough, you can actually see it in the movie.
It's crazy to think here, all of those years ago, there was a massive Hollywood party held in celebration for one restaurant's grand opening. And it's really hard to believe that 30 years have passed since that evening. I guarantee that most people have forgotten about it. The stanchions would have been wrapped around the street, and the red carpet would have been where I'm standing. I think Schwarzenegger was off filming a movie because I can't find a digital presence for him at this event at all. If I remember correctly, the main entrance was on the other side of the building. I mentioned that the restaurant was always packed and had a line snaked around the corner to that entrance. There was always a bodyguard or hostess at the front door with an earpiece. And the sound blasting out onto the street was very loud. DC has pretty strict building and zoning requirements, so this place wasn't as flashy as their other locations.
Inside, doesn't look like a Planet Hollywood anymore.
And to be honest, it probably was a lot smaller than their other spots, hence the long lines. I can't find any photos from this place, but I did find one home video on YouTube. I'll link to it in the description for mine. Here are a few screenshots. There's not much to see other than a brief shot of the seating area, the entertainment video wall, and movie props. One looks to be Tom Cruise's uniform and a few good men. I also found this menu for Washington, D.C. listed for sale online, which brings me around to the purpose of today's video. Another main component of the old Planet Hollywood that's been discontinued is the original menu. In the past few years, they partnered with Guy Fieri, so with every meal you're on the fast track to Flavor Town. I can't blame them, as his unique blend of star quality and crazy ingredient meal concoctions Makes sense with the theming for the restaurant. What's gone, however, are your garden variety Americana menu offerings with the cutesy names. We've done enough burgers recently on the channel, so I'm opting today to try to recreate a salad, the Hollywood Bowl. When your relatives come to visit and all the kids want to go to Planet Hollywood, you may opt for the pasta or a salad. Luckily, all of the ingredients and the presentation of the chicken are described in the menu itself. That's a good thing because I can't find any photos of the original online, so let's get to the shopping. I hit up my local Asian market because they always have hard to find ingredients, like Alfalfa Sprouts, which my local grocery doesn't always carry. I'm usually leery of Sprouts because they're a food safety nightmare, especially on a buffet. All kinds of bad bacteria get trapped in them, so be wary. The salad had mixed greens, so here's a nice spring mix. H Mart had 4 different kinds of cucumbers, so we're going with the American. And I lucked out and was able to find Roma tomatoes. They're usually only available in cans at the other stores. I love avocados, but really struggled finding a ripe one. These are the ones from Mexico and should be in season, but were all hard as a rock. And spoiler alert, they were just as unripe on my salad. We also need a small can of yellow corn, a can of halved black olives, and our chicken breasts. I picked up this jar of red roasted peppers at a different store on a previous day. Now we're back at the house and I'm going to start prepping the salad, slicing cucumbers and the tomatoes. Originally I was going to use large slices, but I found some visuals of their other salads and they're diced like way down. In a restaurant setting, cutting them like this would make them go a much longer way. The same goes for these roasted peppers. They have this weird rubbery texture, so I'm slicing them the way I think they would present the best on a table. And for all the hoopla, Planet Hollywood, at least the old version, was a fast casual joint, and I doubt they'd be roasting peppers in-house on a daily basis. So doing it this way should be fine. So I'll get back to the salad, but now I want to season and grill the chicken breasts. Salt and pepper is really all you need, but I like this McCormick season blend that also has garlic. I want to remind viewers that I never worked in food service, so I'm not an expert when it comes to preparation and chef skills. However, I did work in the food industry for 8 years, and it's really important not to cross-contaminate your food, especially when dealing with poultry. I was hoping to obtain those grill marks that restaurants are able to produce, so I tried this stovetop griddle for the first time. I was largely successful, even though it doesn't really matter because I'll be slicing the meat anyway. I should have flattened them because they took forever to come up to temperature, but I took them off around 162 degrees Fahrenheit and rested them up to 165. It was a perfect sear and cook. It's now time to slice them up. Because of the longer cook times, I got to thinking that Planet Hollywood probably prepped them well in advance, so that when it was time to make the salad, they would just quickly reheat the chicken. I also realized that each breast was a lot of meat. It could be that the kitchen would weigh out each portion per plate, meaning that you weren't receiving the entire breast per order. And that way the kitchen could cut some costs. Now we need to plate this thing and check out this amazing thrift store find. Again, I don't have any reference points, but I've made plenty of salads before. First, we'll lay down a base of our spring mix. And here are those diced vegetables I mentioned earlier. I'm now sprinkling around the black olives and the corn. I saved the avocado for last because they brown quickly once they're cut. And as suspected, they were less than ripe. Total bummer. I'm now going to lay down a small garland of the alfalfa sprouts. And the menu says a pinwheel of chicken, whatever that means. All I can think is that the chicken would have been laid out in a fan shape. We now need to address, the dressing. The menu calls for balsamic vinaigrette. And now finally, it's time for the grand reveal. While we wait for our order, I wanted to make it a little more fun and surround myself with some movie props, like this everlasting gobstopper, a baseball from The Sandlot, Kylo Ren's lightsaber, and a rock. Actually, this rock is a real artifact taken from the long-abandoned helicopter pad from George Romero's cult 1978 film Dawn of the Dead. My review of the salad? It's weird. They're going for a Pan-Asian California thing, but they don't quite nail it. It's missing something, a bit of crunch. The alfalfa sprouts are fine, but toss in a handful of those crispy chow mein noodles and I am in. Maybe some mandarin orange slices. That would go great with the chicken, which is the best thing here. The avocado wasn't nearly ripe enough. The tomato cube combo was good, but the peppers were kind of meh. The balsamic dressing doesn't work either, but I bet a citrus-based one would. And the corn and black olives, no sir. I remade the salad the next day with Kalamata olives, and I still wasn't sold. If I ate this at the actual restaurant, I would have been pining for the burger and fries. I still had a lot of fun here today, reminiscing about a place I never went to, but a time period that I fully embraced. And I hope you did too. Be sure to give it a like and leave me a comment sharing your Planet Hollywood memories. And if you've been to the newer restaurants, what your favorite dish on the menu is. Until next time, guys, I'll be... Nah, way too cliche.